I'd like to bring out the director of Thor Ragnarok, an amazing genius that I've been fortunate enough to get to know the past few years, Mr. Taika Waititi! Also, a man by the name of Chris Hemsworth! Hiddleston! Ruffalo! Cate Blanchett! A Jeff Goldblum has arrived, and while Jeff Goldblum has been spotted. Also, Tessa Thompson! Karl! House. Excellent. Your Thor Ragnarok cast. Congratulations. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Mr. Hemsworth. So Thor does not have his hammer. He does not have Asgard.
Or his hair.
He doesn't have hair that he normally would have.
No. Getting old. Fell out.
So this looks like a very different Thor tonally and character-wise with Thor's going. What's going on? What's going on with him right now?
Midlife crisis, I think. Well, I've played this character 5 times. This is Marvel's 167th film or something. Look, me personally, I got a bit bored of myself and thought, we've got to try something different. Spoke with Taika, spoke with Kevin, and all of us agreed if we're going to make a third Thor, we have to really push the envelope and experiment and take it to another level. So that was what this film was, you know. Cut his hair, break his hammer, change his clothes, change the world, and I think that's what you're going to see and be excited about, is something incredibly unique and different for not only the Thor world, but the Marvel universe.
And so, because he's so used to being in charge, I mean, like, he's never really seems like he has to break much of a sweat. And in this, but from what we've seen so far.
No, he gets his ass kicked in this film. Mainly by the bloke a couple of seats away from him. They have a good little rumble, yeah.
And Taika, I was so excited when I found out that you were making this movie, because What We Do in the Shadows is one of the great... You and Jermaine together, an incredible combination, and to hear that you were going, what is the transition like from going from a film like What We Do in the Shadows, which is an intimate movie that you worked on for a long time, to this, you know, mega tentpole with a character that everyone already knows?
Better food for a start on set, and just like Chris was bored of what he was up to. I was also bored of what he was up to, and when he reached out, I just saw a friend in need, and and that's just who I am. That's my nature. If you need help, if you need me to pull you from the dark depths, I'm there for you. And if that means me having to take on a tentpole movie like this, I'll do it. I'll take it for the team. So it's really that. I was just trying to help my mate out. In terms of how different it was, moving from a tiny little film to a giant one, I feel like there's a lot more pressure, obviously, but at the end of the day, I keep saying this, whatever's inside that rectangle is all that matters. And, there might be 500 more people on the crew, but as long as the actors are learning their lines and saying them convincingly, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what the budget is. And most of these people did not learn their lines.
Okay, it just got very serious for a second here. Let's call people out. Let's make it about... Tom Hiddleston, who... A couple years ago, you came out here in full costume. There was a full production. It was one of the most memorable and incredible moments of Comic-Con. And you had fun, right? How could you not have fun with that? Was that?
It was a unique experience, and for which I will be eternally grateful to Hall H.
So what has Loki been up to at this point?
Well, it's been 4 years, and if you saw Thor: The Dark World, you will know that at the end of that film, Loki is on the throne of Asgard, pretending to be Odin. So Thor comes home, and things are a little different in Asgard. Loki has directed most of his energies into narcissistic self-glorification. Not so much time on good governance, but Ragnarok is coming, and Loki's allegiances have always been slightly unpredictable, and he's still the god of mischief. And what his part is in all of that, you'll just have to wait and see.
All right. I feel like they will. I feel like they're going to see it. I feel like this crowd is probably going to see this movie. I'm going to take a guess. I feel like they're on board with it. I feel like they're on board with it. Mark.
I'll go see it. I'm gonna see it. I'll see it.
You're gonna see it?
I'm gonna see it.
Can you pick me up? Can you pick me up to see the movie? I want to see the movie. What? Can we talk about the evolution of the Hulk a little bit?
What is it?
The evolution of the Hulk. The Hulk is a movie that you're a character in the.
Oh. Well, it's a little different Hulk than we've seen. Hulk refuses to turn back into Banner. And he's actually enjoying his time on Sakaar because he is a gladiator champion of the world of Sakaar, which means he kicks a lot of A, because it says right here, please be aware that many members of your audience may be under the age of 18.
Listen, it is very nice of you to honor that. Literally no one else has been honoring that.
He kicks a lot of A.
Nice.
And he's enjoying his life for once, and he'll be damned if he's going to go back to Banner.
Again, with the harsh language. I don't know why you had to take it so filthy there.
Is damn a swear word?
I don't know, probably not. I just think kids, you can't offend them at all anymore because of the internet. It doesn't even matter anymore. Everyone knows everything. So is he he is kind of a perma-Hulk at this point?
He's a little perma-Hulked.
Yeah.
And he's starting to be able to, because he's been the Hulk for 2 years now, he has the vocabulary of a 2-year-old. So we have a speaking Hulk. Can I say that?
Well, too late.
Oh, sorry. We may or may not have a speaking Hulk in Thor 3, where everyone may or may not die.
Fair enough. That wraps it up. Cate, how did you come into the Marvel universe, and what was your what drew you in? I mean, seriously, yes, seriously.
A sort of happy accident. I sort of live in the same continent as Taika, and the flight was cheap, so he came over.
I just saw a friend in need. Someone just reaching out for. It was just a whisper in the dark. Just needing help.
I'm grateful. No, look, it's a universe that I've sort of been happily dragged into because of my kids, and to work with Taika and these guys and gals was pretty exciting.
Pretty amazing. And then Jeff Goldblum, who the Grand Master. If I'm not mistaken, you're the yes.
No, you were going to say.
You're the collector's brother. Is that not accurate?
It looks like what?
You're.
It's hard to hear.
Oh, it is hard to hear. You are the collector's brother.
Yes, I'm the collector's brother. Benicio del Toro. That's right. We're very old. We were elders. We're elders of the universe. We came about shortly after the Big Bang.
So do the rest of us.
Oh, come on. It's really funny you make that joke, but you say A instead of ass. That's really funny.
No, my character. Yeah, we're the oldest living creatures in the universe. Yeah, oldest living race they call us in the thing. We were here shortly after the Big Bang. Grand Master and my brother Collector. That's right.
Excellent.
That's right. And now I rule. And now I rule on this planet Sakaar, and put together games mostly. I'm a games. I love games. and fighting games. And I put together, I don't want to give anything away, but the great match between Hulk and the new Thor. So I put that together for your entertainment and pleasure.
Can you hear me down there, Tessa? Can you hear me? Can you hear okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Thanks very much.
So what can you say about Valkyrie? Is there anything you can say about Valkyrie for people?
I was just another friend in need.
You're welcome.
No, I'm thankful. She is an elite warrior of Asgard who is hanging out on Sakaar for reasons that I can't really elaborate on, and she has a relationship with the Grand Master. It's not romantic. I mean, maybe it used to be. Who knows? He's a friend from work. And she picks up little pieces around town that may be of interest, and one of them happens to be a big godlike thing. Yeah, right? And so she brings him to the Grand Master, and then, it takes us off on our story.
Excellent. Karl Urban, who's a Scourge.
Are you out of your Vulcan minds?
Oh, yeah.
So are we.
Cross the streams, man. I love it. Cross the streams. When did you guys shoot this movie? Because they said you shaved your head and you already have, you were that masculine that your hair immediately just...
Yeah, I was in the same boat with everybody else, actually. I was actually on vacation and I received a call from Taika, who was in Australia, deep behind enemy lines, saying, mate, I need help. And so literally that is why I joined this cast.
So Karl's from New Zealand, like me, and when you're surrounded by so many Australians, it's just the accent. It's a little bit drilled. It's like being drilled in the side of the head all day long.
Yeah.
It's like having a glass bottle full of nails just shaking in your ears.
I almost didn't make it to set because when I came into Australia, the customs officer asked me if I had a criminal record, and I said, "Oh mate, I didn't know I still needed one to get in." Hey, Hemsworth, your great-granddaddy stole an apple, got caught, was sent on a boat, right?
Thank God for that too.
Breaking news! Australia declares war on New Zealand. More at 11.
Yeah, we're just kind of bridging the gap between New Zealand and Australia at the moment. As you can see, we're sitting a lot closer to each other than should be.
Bringing two cultures together, the warring tribes of Australia and New Zealand.
It's all over.
Now made
in the
peace.
past.
Make a baby. Make a baby.
We will. You made a movie instead.
And then Rachel House, who has a history of working with Taika. Just in case people don't know, can you talk about some of your...
Hello.
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 Can you talk about your history a little bit working with Taika?
So I've been in 4 out of 5 of his films that he's made. Yeah. So he just brought me along for the accent and for the ride.
Yeah. Rachel's like my good luck charm. I'll try and put her in everything I do. Because she's... Yes, you said it. She's awesome.